Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. We're going to be working on some techniques today, some applique and reverse applique. These are techniques that I have learned over the years. I'm by no means perfect at it, but I do have a great deal of fun with it. And I wanted to make a short but sweet video on how to get started and some tools that I wish I would have known before I started doing applique. But that's a whole part of the process is that you gotta, crawl before you walk, you fall, so you can learn. It's what makes us better. So I'm going to be showing you some techniques. I'm going to use my Juki 5550N. I really wish I was using my Bernina or my brother's sewing machine, but the way my room is set up, it's really hard to get shots on that unless I actually just bring the sewing machine up to the upstairs to the dining room and use a dining room table. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to show you some supplies that I use. Everything is paid for, and they're just things that I like to personally use. I always say get a good pair of sharp scissors, especially if you're cutting out your own appliques, like with hearts. If you hearts, circles, squares, whatever, you can use cutouts. Like if you have a brother scanner cut circuit. I think I forgot the other one. There's a lot of different machines that can cut out perfect shapes for you so that you don't have to do it. So I want to talk about a couple techniques. First, when you make your applique, you're going to figure out what you're going to cut out. So let's say we're going to do this heart. Second thing we're going to want to know is if we're going to put our applique on just another piece of vinyl or faux leather or cork and just go around it, knowing that it won't have a fluffy feel because it doesn't have I was going to say stuffing, but it's not stuffing. It doesn't have oh my goodness, foam, or it's different structures. But before you do that, as you can see right here, there is white edges. So one thing I wish somebody would have told me is that there are a couple different tools and many more tools that I'm not even showing that can help with coloring the edges. There are markers that are meant for leather or fabric that can help stain the edges. So I'm trying to do bright colors so they can purposely show up on camera. You can make the outside of your heart all red. And these markers have a tendency of drying faster than the leather paint, the fabric markers. The leather paint, you can use a lot of different. This is Angelus, and I think both of these things I got from Amazon. And I got this really pretty blue. You can make the outside blue. You can use a toothpick. I personally like to use the side of the brush so a lot of paint's not dripping, and therefore when you put this on top, it's all filled in. It doesn't look like you have any raw and exposed edges. So these are just tips that I've learned around along the way, because I hated having white edges peeking through it. For me, it felt like it was unfinished. It may not feel like unfinished for other people, but it's all about personal preference. The second thing is the most important. As you see on here, there's a whole bunch of zigzags. My machine does have a needle synchronizer, but I haven't been using it. I had an error once, and then I decided, hey, it's fine. You're going to need to get real familiar with your machine. What I mean familiar is that when I was little, my abuelita, when I was trying to make my grandmother, when I was trying to make quilts or dresses or whatever, she would grab big pieces of muslin and put different interfacings and have me do zigzag circles in the machine and just get comfortable like I was kneading dough or working with clay. Because when you have unique shapes, you're either going to have to go continuously or be confident that your needle's going to go down when you need to stop. So you got to figure out what stitch length, the tension, and everything is best for you, and just work around. All the skills that you learn, from bag making to quilting to anything, can be done just with the right amount of patience. You just need to figure out what speed, what tension, and what makes you feel comfortable, and just feel like you have 100% control over it, because it's really easy to lose control and get a bird's nest or go off track. So take your time, have fun, grab scraps, and just get comfortable with your machine. Every machine sews differently. Like I know with my Bernita, I'm usually like sticking my whole entire face down and trying to do it, because the machine, I don't have the it doesn't have the best speed control, so I feel like I have to be on top of it. With my brother, I feel like it stitches so slow that I'm overthinking it. So just fill out your machine, kind of just practice some stitches, because we're going to be doing some techniques that it's all about stitching. All right, so I'm going to show you faux leather. I want to do this oval on top of it, and this has batting. So what this is called reverse applique, because if it was applique, we would just be stitching on this oval. Because we cut it out and we want this to poke out, we're going to start. Have long tails. We're not going to back stitch, because we're going to pull all threads to the back so it can look seamless. You can, if you wish, if you use a tandy leather pin and draw out 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, whatever you so desire, or you can grab some double-sided tape and you can make little pieces of tape, and you can put this down so your piece won't move. This is 1/8 of an inch, and I believe I got this from Wawak. I usually get my double-sided tape from Wawak. It's just super sticky, and it holds everything in place. You can go around the whole oval if you want. I'm just going to show you for time purposes, going around so that way it can just stick a little better. And so I'm going to press this on here, have it sticking. I'm going to have long tails. I'm confident in my stitch length, and I'm going to go around. And this, a reason why I tell people to do practice stitching is because I feel like top stitching can be nerve-wracking, and if you're doing applique, you're trying to do perfect top stitching. So you're kind of not breathing, you're kind of just like hyper focused in that area, and you don't want to mess up. The reason why I like reverse applique is you can do really cool techniques. As you know, I'm a nerd, and I like to have super nerdy stuff like Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, and I'm leaving long tails. Have Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, and I like to have it stick. Have like like their armor poke out. So I like to use a lot of foam. So I'm going to go to the back, and I'm just going to grab a pen, and I'm going to, not a pen, but a pen. I'm going to pull my thread so that the threads can come to the back. So I'm lifting up this loop, and then I'm going to pull this thread to bring. This part can be tedious, especially if you're trying to blend, when you're blending colors. It's worth it, but it's tedious. So all my threads are to the back. There's no back stitching. And then all you do is you tie them off. I tie in 3. I have no idea why. I just it's something I do. There's people that do it once, twice, 4 times. It's whatever's easier for you. I like to tie in 3, and then I leave a little bit of a tail. And then what I like to do is take a little fray check. You can burn your ends, and it can be nice too. If you use fray check, please don't use fire by it, because man, you're asking for some disaster. So as you can see, you have the top stitching. It's not perfect over here, but it's okay. It's a demonstration, and it has a little bit of puffiness because of the shape flex, the any soften stable. If you were to do this, let's say on just like a piece of vinyl with like, this is Sewfuse Plus, but you can, if you're using Decaville or whatever, the piece is not going to stand up as much because it's flat against flat. So it's, again, it's personal preference. I'm going to show you what this looks like on just Decaville. I mean, not Decaville, but I can't talk this evening. On Sewfuse, or just anything that's not foam. I generally tell people when I do my reverse appliques, I use foam. It just looks better to me. When I'm also doing appliques, if there's a area that's like really sharp, like you see I'm paying extra detail to the V and then the center part, because I don't want it to lift when I'm going around. And before this is when you would put on your like red or your blue or whatever color you want it to match, and let it dry. I can't express that enough, because if you don't let it dry, it'll come like a situation like this. It will bleed onto the other fabric, or like all over your hands. So just let it dry. And this is my reverse applique technique. When I was starting to do it, I was trying to look for videos. There are some, and they are people that give really good advice out there, and hopefully there'll be more people that come out and give advice, because it's actually a really cool technique that I see people in garment making do, making quilts and bags. So it's a universal sewing technique. No back stitching. Needle down when you're pivoting. Remember to breathe. Before I do a bag, I'll cut out a rough template of what I want, and I'll practice the turns. Again, I'm bringing this back. I'm using one of these big quilt pins, so I can do it. I'm bringing the threads back. Then I'm going to tie them. And for this sake, I'm going to show you how you could burn it without using the fray check. I can't advise that enough. Don't do it if you have a glue base on there. It's just saying, hey, guess what? We want to set this piece on fire. So I cut the tails down a little bit, and then I just burn the edges and kind of let the thread mill. So see that now this is flat. If you look at this one, it's a little bit more puffed out. It wants to push out because of the fact that it's compressed around the foam. So it's going to puff out anywhere it's not stitched. It looks just as good if you're doing it like with Decoville, or if you're using like a woven interface or a non-woven interface, but there's a little bit of a difference. There's some, one pokes out and puffy and the other one's flat. Both beautiful, both something you can choose. That's how I do my reverse applique, and I will show you now how I do my applique. So let's say I'm going to put this heart on this bag. You can grab some double-sided tape. There is the Dritz wash away tape, won't gum up your needles as much. And you can put it all the way around. I usually put it all the way around so it's super secure. And it's the same kind of technique. I pick an area where I think it'll be good to start, and I go from there. Don't backstitch. And it's so weird because I'm always telling everyone to backstitch in the videos, and then now I'm like, yeah, don't backstitch. We're gonna pull the threads. Needle down when you're gonna pivot. The reason why I'm saying get comfortable with your machine, because there's going to be turns and you can definitely stop, but if you're comfortable with your machine, you can go continuously. I'm hoping these thread color shows up on camera, because normally I have a tendency of going for like neutral colors on camera. I have no idea why. And if you go to my Etsy page, you'll see like I'll have bright green against black. I like contrasting thread to be a decorative. I like people to see my stitching. Even if it's not perfect, it's like my stitching and my passion and my art that I put into it. Basically, we're painting with thread. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to pull threads, and I'm going to see if I can pan it in closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to pull the threads and see if I can get closer so you can see what I'm doing. I am going to, this is why you trim threads, so that you don't get random threads in the back. All right, so I have these two pieces of thread. I have pins always on my theme, and I'm going to grab and put one on the side, and I'm going to grab the loop that I tug up. So the thread comes now to the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Pull on the loop and bring the threads back. Then you can tie it off so that the stitches won't unravel. See how this puffs up? This is why I like foam. I know people have mixed feelings on foam, but I love foam. And this is why polyester thread. Do not do this with glue. See how that it just puffs up. Not perfect here. I messed up here, but it's okay. It's a good looking heart. I top stitch around 1/8 of an inch. That's what it looks like with the foam. I'm going to show you one more without the foam, so you can get a gist. But yeah, I love applique and reverse applique on bags, like a lot. And there are some bags out there like Lauren Mormino, her peekaboo bag, and I believe she has a coin bag that practices with the outside having applique. And I think these are perfect bags to practice on, like little coin pouches and dot kits and makeup bags. and then you progress into more. But the first sewing technique I always say to learn is be at one with your machine. So again, you guys probably see me make a lot of Star Wars bags. If you're out in the bag world, you know I'm a Star Wars fanatic. So one of my favorite Star Wars movies is the Rogue One, and one of them, the blind person is like, I'm one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. You got to be one with your machine, and your machine needs to be one with you. You have to use your force to be confident in your applique. Because if you exude confidence in it, then everybody else is going to appreciate it because they can see the love and the passion that you put into it. Think of your thread as being a paint or a pencil, whatever, and get you through it. And you got this, like 100%. So I'm going to do this. And again, not back stitching, trying to go 1/8 of an inch around. That one's pretty dope. Okay, so we're gonna take the threads again and we're gonna pull them in the back. It is a tedious process, but I feel like it's super worth it. Oops. And see, and I'm going back because I didn't pull the thread up right. There we go. Tie it off. And I'm just using Saba thread 40 weight from wawak. I should be a spokesperson for them because I so promise you, I use so much of their stuff from the double-sided tape to the thread. I really like Saba thread for some odd reason. I just like it. And then we have now this applique on this. This is if you were to have just like, this is fused with Sewfuse Plus, and it's perfect. It's pretty because like now maybe I can put another applique on this. What if I turn this into a cameo? What if I put this into making it a shield? There's so many possibilities. What if you got like, you know, fabric paint, and then you were sitting there drawing like cool little doodles like through the heart. There's so many possibilities. So again, I highly recommend getting one with your machine. Your scraps are your best friend. Filling out the stitch length. Do I like it at a 2.5? Do I like it at a 3, 3.5? Double-sided tape, especially around sharp corners so that they stick down. You got to figure out if you're using foam in your bag so you can have a little puffed out effect, or if you're going to be using just like a Sewfuse Decaville light and knowing that's going to be flatter, and top stitching and pulling your threads to the back. And you can kind of just see it's like puffy. It's really puffy where you do, because what happens is the formula for soft and stable, the more you sew around it, the more it compresses in that area and it like protrudes out on the other. So I have a tendency of loving foam. And then I also love Sewfuse and Decaville light, and this is like different applique techniques. And again, you can draw them out, cut out your shapes, or you have if you're lucky enough to have like a Brother Scannon cut cameo circuit, you can cut them out, and then you can do different things. That, like I said, the possibility is absolutely endless. And I highly suggest to look at quilting videos, garment videos, because they all do it. Um, Especially like tailoring jackets, it's hilarious because like welt pockets and applique on the elbows are all things that we can use in bag making that is also in tailoring a jacket. So that's pretty much it. If you want longer detailed, or if we want to do more of a project for applique or reverse applique, comment down below, let me know. If you have questions about anything, please comment. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope this video was able to help somebody. If you do like the video, please hit that notification buttons, likes, and subscribe, and it'll be awesome. And I'll see you really soon, because for the other part of Nova Wing, we're going to be making a really cool pen cushion and using some not unconventional, I guess, things that I wasn't aware of in pen cushions to help sharpen the pens versus dulling them just with cotton or polyester fill. So we'll be doing that next week, as well as we'll be making a Rosa Magdalena bag. So we're going to have some fun. And I will be doing some reverse applique on that bag so I can show you you can see how it looks as we're making the bag. So I'm really excited about this, and I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by and watch my little YouTube show. Until next time, I hope everyone stays safe and has a really good day. Bye.